I think it's far more efficient to take a pile of money and light it on fire in the parking lot than it is to be wasting so much time with clients that you're not profitable on, and not even like profitable, like not even like breaking even on. So that is usually the single biggest constraint right there. And when advisors can see, okay, I have a small group of clients, I should be everything for the small group, not something for everyone, everything for the small group.
I'm joined by Jon Randall, founder of Extraordinary Financial Advisors, XFA for short. Jon, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Tracey. It's awesome to be here and talk about growing businesses, especially
Yes.
the financial advisor business. So I was a financial advisor for most of my career and lived the trials and tribulation of trying to grow a business and scale, which a lot of advisors want to do. And I stumbled upon helping others when I moved to North Carolina from New York, where you are. I started in the late 90s, moved to New York in 2004. And all these advisors around here said, what do the big producers do in New York? Would you show me their best practices? And I did. And then I grew really quickly, and other advisors said, would you show me how to grow really quickly like you did? And it really turned into a passion of mine, so much more so that I exited my practice and just have focused on XFA. And at our website, xfa.coach, and you'll see our team. We have a lot of coaches that help advisors. And it's cool. They're all people like me. They're people we've coached. They've built their business. They've sold it. And they're having fun helping other people do the same thing and grow their businesses. So it's not just growth at the top line. We're also focused on profitability. And there's definitely some constraints that are holding advisors back from building more growth and profitability, which will be fun to dive into with you today. So everyone wants to acquire more clients, right? Every financial advisor, gosh, if I just got more clients, if I get another acquisition, it would solve all my problems. And you look at just where are new clients coming from for advisors. 73% are coming from referrals, 24% are coming from referrals from other professionals, and 3% are coming from all other methods combined. So how do advisors max out what's working, right? I think a lot of times advisors look at, well, there's a shiny new object. If I just post some stuff on Facebook, maybe I'll get some new people. Now, there's really smart emerging trends, right? That advisors, some savvy ones, are getting new clients, which I'm a big fan of, like you do at Windsor Edge. But you just look at the backbone of this industry, what works, it's referrals. Well, how do you make this happen? It's all about doing more for clients, right? How can you be even better, not with everybody, but with a select group of clients? And I think a mistake a lot of advisors make there is everyone starts out, I need more clients, more assets, right? It's how we all start. And then as you progress, it's less about quantity, it's more about quality. You start focusing on, hey, I can really help this special group. I can get access to other people just like them quicker. So that was really the journey for me. That was where the light bulb went off of, oh my gosh, I can grow so much faster, and it's so much easier to help a bunch of people that are similar. And so that's really the path to growth. Well, the best way to get them is you got to be really good with what you do with existing clients. You know, that's really the foundation of building an incredible financial advisor business.
So when a financial advisor is seeking new clients, what are they feeling? And how do you address the fear around needing to grow?
So for financial advisors producing under 1 million in revenue, it's sort of a different game. When you get into million, multiple millions, that's something else. So let's just talk about first about the advisor producing under million. It's a grind to get to million. All right, it's a grind. It's possible to do. You as an individual producer can get to over 1 million, but that should really be your goal, your mission. How do I get there? And you look at how you get there, capacity is probably the biggest constraint we see. So you go back and there's only so much time, right? So somebody that doesn't have a team of a whole bunch of people taking everything off their plate, you got to be really careful with time. So your capacity is key. So you got to make sure your time is invested with your best clients. And so a metric we look at is what's your revenue per client. I'm big on industry studies. We buy some research. One of my favorites is the Investment News study they put out every year. This goes deep. It's hundreds of pages of deep data and practices. And they reported in 2024 that the average revenue of a client of a financial advisor crossed over 10,000 for the first time. It was around 10,300. It's average revenue per client. So if you look at your total revenue, you divide it by the number of clients. If you're less than that, which a lot of times advisors under $1 million are. Let's look at your client base. There's probably a whole bunch of clients that aren't a fit, that aren't profitable for you. A lot of firms say that about around 5,000 in revenue is the profit line. Under that, clients just aren't as profitable. And so this is the mindset shift for advisors producing under $1 million. You've really got to find a way to do more with the larger clients because they are the access to the next new client just like them. If you're trying to be something for everyone, it's going to gravitate to the mean. Your services become designed for your middle client, right? You attract new clients in the middle of your book. So it's really about how can I do more at the top, generate more revenue with them and duplicate them. That's kind of the path. But everyone gets caught up with, oh, this client started with me, right? And they'll just spend a lot of time with a lot of people that they're not making anything. I think it's far more efficient to take a pile of money and light it on fire in the parking lot than it is to be wasting so much time with clients that you're not profitable on and not even like profitable, like not even like breaking even on. So that right there, that whole capacity thing, that is usually the single biggest constraint right there. And when advisors can see, okay, I have a small group of clients, that's really who I should be. I should be everything for the small group, not something for everyone, everything for the small group. Let me do more with them. Let me apply at XFA, we call it client optimization, generate more revenue with them. And then that's your path to get to them because 73% of new clients that come from referrals, we want referrals from them.
Yes.
And so we've seen practices that do this. They can grow by 50%, double quickly. A lot will double in their first year. And we've even had some like quadruple in 2 to 3 years because they not only grow with what they have, but then they start accessing other people like their best clients. And it can happen fast. It can happen fast. But that's the root of it.
Yeah, tell me more about the constraints that are holding financial advisors back.
Capacity is a big one. So, and it's consistent under $1 million and over $1 million. If the owner, the founder, has too much on their plate, they're the growth engine, right? They're the ones that built this thing from nothing. If they're clogged up, the whole thing's clogged up. So the other side of capacity, for anyone listening doing over $1 million, multiple millions, we work with some Barron's top 100 practices, even a Barron's top 10 practice. That game is different. That game of capacity is leveraging the capacity of others on your team, specifically other financial advisors on your team. So the average financial advisor working for a practice now produces close to $1 million, or I should say is managing close to $1 million in revenue of the firm's clients. So that becomes the scaling game, is how do I get more in the door organically, inorganically through acquisitions? How do I have enough quality advisor force to service those clients? And that's really how to scale through multiple millions, 8 figures, 9 figures. That's the path. But that capacity, that is the thing that so many advisors are not looking at. It is the single biggest constraint we consistently see. Then you get into like, revenue per client being a constraint, which client optimization solves. We're not bringing in enough, either organically, inorganically. That's kind of the progression, but you can trace back that the single constraint that they need to work on is usually there. It's usually, does the owner have too much on their plate? If not, are they leveraging the capacity of others on their team? That is the game. That is the game to scale this business.
Having too much on your plate. What are some of the ways that that people can remedy that?
One of the ways to remedy too much on your plate is what to do with the things you shouldn't be doing. Like who are the clients on your plate shouldn't probably be working with? What's the solution for them? That usually helps. So I find there's this psychological resistance to let go of any penny of revenue, right? And I get it that, hey, we need this revenue, but you look at clients, most practices, the bottom half of clients is only producing low single digits of their percentage of revenue. So we probably need to do something with these people, at least the bottom third. We probably need to find another solution with these people. And the first thought is, oh, well, I'll just get a newer advisor and dump these people on them. Okay, well, founder got a little freer, but you got the same problem. You have the unprofitability problem in your practice. Now you're investing in paying somebody to work a part of your business that's unprofitable. Now we're even more unprofitable than we were because we got the cost of this other person that we have no profit margin on. So we got to find a solution there. For practices under $1 million, it's usually I need to either partner with somebody else to maybe do a revenue share, get these people to, or maybe package them and sell them. We've got to find a transition solution for these people. Now, for much larger firms, like I'll reference a Barron's top 10 firm that we work with, they're acquiring a lot of other practices. So when you acquire practices, you get a wide range of clients, right? There's going to be some good ones with multiple millions, and there's going to be some that aren't producing enough. So what they've done, they've created basically a call center, kind of like big firms, the biggest firms in the industry have call centers for their smaller groups of clients. They've done that too, which they've contained. It's a completely different business, but they've at least contained these clients because they're constantly going to get them. They contain them in a place in a call center where they're serviced differently. So they call it the virtual planning team services these people, but it's quick conversations. It's not like the long traditional meetings. It's very efficient. So that each advisor can handle thousands of clients. It's a very high volume, just like a call center. It's a very different model. But what that's done, it's protected the quality advisors to be able to produce 1 million or manage 1 million of the firm's clients. Some of our best firms are targeting 1.5 million for each advisor to manage, pushing that to 2 million that each advisor manages for the firm. So it just goes back to quality. And even at the top 10 in the industry, a metric we're constantly looking at, if you're in the scaling game, it is revenue per advisor, but we're always looking at revenue per client, because that's how you drive it, right? How can we increase revenue per client? How can you as an advisor work with better quality clients? How can we make sure advisors on your team are working with better quality clients? But the root, we need a solution for the people that aren't as profitable, that aren't producing as high revenue per client. Once you clear those out, it's so much easier to grow. So with this psychological conundrum of letting go of this revenue, if you see that, oh my gosh, if we just did a teeny bit more revenue with the group of clients that are really good, it can make up for the block of your bottom third, your bottom half that you need to let go of. It can make that up many, many times over. Advisors usually need to see that. They might want to capture that revenue first before letting go of any. So that's usually a big roadblock to doing it. But that's the answer. It's got to be quality, or if you're scaling, doing multiple millions and you're acquiring practices, you probably need an eventual internal solution to do this, or just a really strong partner that you can refer some of the small people to who's willing to take them on. But that's going to constantly hold practices back until they can find that solution and get themselves a little freer.
How do you approach differentiation in the financial advisory space?
This is a great question, because everyone will say things that don't matter, like our service is really good, or things that they think are relevant but are really not. The key differentiation is whatever your target is, your niche. So if you have one client that you really like, it could literally turn into hundreds of clients like them. But the key to differentiating is I specialize in working with people just like you. So think about what's the makeup of that client. Do they own a car dealership? I specialize in working with people with car dealerships. Only even if you have one, if you're really good with that client, you can specialize with that. You can tell them that. And that's the ultimate differentiator. If there's ever referral, which is where most of the new clients come from, hey, this person specializes in us. Or if you work with people at XYZ company, I specialize in working with people at XYZ company. It's the easiest differentiator that any advisor could do today. You look at a client that you really like, that's in your ideal segment, there's probably other people in the world just like them, or at least in the United States, just like them. And so that's the key to differentiating. It's hard to compete with really large firms. You can't compete with the very large scale, low cost providers that are out there on price. So you've got to be special and unique. And if you are special, people will pay you, right? Because you're a specialist for people, in the eyes of a prospect. Oh my gosh, you help people just like me, like you specialize in me. So that's the easiest way to differentiate in this large sea of hundreds of thousands of financial advisors competing like sharks to get the business of clients. I mean, the industry is booming. The amount of people seeking advice is constantly increasing. And I read another article said that the amount of Americans that have between a million and 5 million. It was about 52 million last year, and the number's growing by about over 1,000 people daily. So the number of Americans in that segment, and it might not be investable assets, but net worth of crossing over a million, it's growing very fast, and they want advice. They want advice. So there's a growing amount of people that are seeking a financial advisor. And interestingly, the number of advisors in the industry is declining. McKinsey just came out with a study in February that said there will be a 100,000 advisor shortage by the year 2034. So, I mean, what a good business to be in. It's booming demand. There's less competition. So, I mean, if you're going to be in the business while advisors, I mean, go after it. It's on. You see practices that are under the other side have worked through this stuff for, a couple of years. It's easy for them. It's like effortless to bring in another 100 million a year. For some of you listening might be like, that's bigger than my whole practice. Yeah, it can absolutely happen for you, but it starts with these fundamentals.
And you help the fastest growing financial advisors, right? What is considered fast to you in this space?
So as they get bigger, keeping up growth rates is tough. We constantly look at what's the growth rates of our people, and it's way over 30% average for our group. When you look at industry studies like the Investment News study, I just love that one because there's so much data. The first thing they report is that financial advisor practices are getting clogged up with too many clients, and it's stunting their growth rate. So we just help them through identifying the constraints that actually hold them back to grow quicker. That's the only reason that they grow quicker. I kind of stopped doing, I'll just do this to grow, it works. But it was like people weren't growing. And I was like, what's wrong with these advisors? And when you dig in, and this has been a journey for over 20 years helping advisors, when you dig in, it's like, oh my gosh, there's these consistent constraints that are actually the problems that they're not working on. And when you work on those, it just unlocks the other things. So it's actually easier to grow and scale on the other side if you go through the right progression here. But it can happen really quickly. And we see people can double in a year, quadruple in 2 to 3 years. It really can happen quickly. Now, when you get into 8-figure, 9-figure firms, if any of those are listening out here, the growth rate percentage becomes more difficult. So if you're doing, let's say, 10 million in revenue a year, you're going to bring in 100 million in new assets organically. It's probably close to $1 million in new revenue. Okay, that's a 10% growth rate, right? If you're at 11 million and you bring in another 100, okay, now you're less than 10% growth rate, right? So this happens as firms get bigger, which is why eventually they start turning to inorganic that, hey, if I go buy a couple 100 million and pad that onto the 100 million we're breaking in, okay, that's about 3 million in new revenue, so that $10 million firm can grow by 30%, right? Now they need even more to grow by that rate again the next year. So you see the Barron's Top 100, Barron's Top 10, I mean, they're tenacious about how can I get more in the door, right? Whatever method necessary, and how can I have enough advisors to service the capacity of this? So that's really the game of like scaling and growing really quickly. It really comes down to those two, but it can happen very, very quickly, very fast, and growth rates can happen quickly if practices are working on the right things and overcoming these constraints. I offer one quick thing to your awesome listeners. So we've developed this diagnostic tool that we've leveraged technology, and we've really got it dialed in that we can help advisors really quickly. We call it the XFA Growth Guide. It's a free tool. Any of your listeners, I love the Windsors, your listeners, we will give you a free growth guide. And here's what it does. It benchmarks your practice against industry averages. It's going to point out the opportunities within your practice, and it'll help identify your constraints holding you back. It literally takes 3 minutes. You do some input on a website, and it spits out a customized growth guide. So it's an easy step. If you go to xfa.coach, we'll give you your growth guide, but we'll provide that for free. We usually just do it for our clients, but for your listeners, we love the Windsors. We will provide a free growth guide for any of your listeners.
Oh, fantastic. And that was the cue, too, for should have been my last question, which is how can people learn more or find you?
If you go to xfa.coach, it's our main page. But if you go to xfa.coach/Windsor, we will have a special landing page just for podcast listeners, and it'll be real simple on there. You can get some free stuff if you want. You can click to get a growth guide. And if you want to talk to one of our growth specialists about getting some help, we'll make that available too. But simple steps, xfa.coach, or if you want to go to xfa.coach/Windsor, go right there. can click on it. It's pretty simple, but we love helping advisors grow. Even if you get a free growth guide and you learn some stuff, that's super valuable for us. We just want to make a difference in our industry. There's a free guide or something that helps you with your practice. That's what we're all about. And we just know some of those people are going to want some help implementing, and that's what we specialize in.
Oh, thank you so much, Jon. That's excellent. And we hope to have you back on again.
Love to. Love what you're doing, and let's keep it going.